The Galactic Combat Academy's main hall buzzed with the usual pre-training chatter. Cadets from a dozen different species mingled in their designated zones. The towering Crethians with their forearms, the swift Veluxians with their crystalline exoskeletons, and the cerebral Kurith whose telepathic abilities made them natural strategists. Then Sarah walked in. She was human, small by galactic standards, standing barely 5.5 feet tall. Her brown hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and she carried a standard issue training bag over one shoulder. She moved quietly to an empty bench near the back, her eyes scanning the room with careful observation. "Look at that," sneered Zexither, a Crethian whose purple skin rippled with barely contained muscle. "They're letting humans into the academy now? What's next?" Recruiting from Garden Worlds. Laughter rippled through his group. The Veluxian beside him, Kyrix, clicked his mandibles in amusement. "I heard humans are slow. Weak gravity on their planet. She probably can't even lift standard combat armor." Sarah didn't react. She simply unpacked her gear, methodically checking each piece of equipment with practiced efficiency. Her silence seemed to irritate them more than any retort would have. Double quotes. "Hey, new girl," called out Leo, another human cadet who'd been at the academy for 3 months. He jogged over, genuine concern in his eyes. "Don't let them get to you. Most of them are all talk." Sarah looked up and offered a small smile. "Thanks, I'm Sarah." "Leo, listen, training starts in 10 minutes. Instructor Vaxel doesn't go easy on anyone, especially not in the first session." "Maybe I'll be fine," Sarah said quietly, her tone polite but final. Leo hesitated, then nodded. "All right. Good luck out there." The training arena was massive, a multi-terrain combat simulator that could shift from urban warfare scenarios to zero-gravity combat in seconds. Today's exercise was simple: survival simulation against automated drones programmed to match the combat capabilities of various hostile species. Instructor Vaxel, a scarred veteran from the Kuroth species, floated into the center of the arena. His telepathic voice boomed in every cadet's mind. "Today, you will demonstrate your combat readiness. Each of you will face 3 waves of increasingly difficult opponents. Your performance will determine your class ranking." Zexither went first, his forearms wielding plasma blades with impressive coordination. He destroyed his drones in under 2 minutes, roaring in triumph as the simulation ended. Kyrix followed, his speed creating afterimages as he dismantled his opponents with surgical precision. When Sarah's name was called, the snickering started again. "This should be entertaining." Zexither muttered loudly enough for everyone to hear. Sarah stepped into the arena. Unlike the others who'd entered with weapons drawn and aggressive stances, she simply stood in the center, hands at her sides. Breathing slowly and evenly. "Begin," Vaxel's voice commanded. The first wave materialized 3 standard combat drones armed with energy weapons. They immediately locked onto Sarah and opened fire. What happened next would be discussed in academy hallways for years to come. Sarah moved, not with the raw speed of a Veluxian or the power of a Crethian, but with something the other species had never truly witnessed before: pure, refined efficiency born from a planet where survival meant adaptation. She dropped low as the first energy bolt passed overhead, simultaneously drawing a combat knife and throwing it in one fluid motion. The blade struck the central drone's optical sensor, momentarily blinding it. She rolled left, coming up beside the second drone, using her smaller stature to stay inside its targeting parameters. Her elbow struck its articulation joint, a weakness she'd identified from watching Kyrix's performance, and the drone collapsed. The third drone recalibrated, firing a spread pattern that should have been impossible to avoid. Sarah grabbed the disabled second drone, using it as a shield while she closed the distance. She vaulted over her makeshift cover, landed on the drone's chassis, and drove her heel into its control housing with precisely calculated force. Elapsed time: 47 seconds. The second wave spawned 5 drones with adaptive programming. Sarah's expression never changed. Where other species relied on their natural advantages, strength, speed, psychic ability, humans had something different. They had endurance. They had pattern recognition. They had millions of years of evolution as persistence hunters who'd literally run their prey to exhaustion. She analyzed the drone's movement patterns in real time, exploited the 3-second lag in their adaptive programming, and turned their own crossfire against them. She used the terrain obstacles the other cadets had ignored to funnel the drones into kill zones. She modified her tactics with every exchange, never using the same approach twice. Time, 1 minute, 18 seconds. The third wave materialized 10 advanced combat drones with predictive algorithms and lethal force. Authorization. The arena fell silent. Even Zexither stopped his mocking commentary. Sarah closed her eyes for just a moment, and when they opened, there was something ancient in her gaze, something that spoke of a species that had climbed from prey to apex predator through sheer, stubborn refusal to quit. She moved like water, like wind, like every environmental force that slowly, inevitably, wore down mountains. The drones were faster individually, stronger, better armed, but Sarah was human, and humans had conquered a death world by being more adaptable, more relentless, and more creative than anything else in their ecosystem. She used one drone's weapon against another. She exploited microscopic timing windows. She improvised weapons from debris. She never stopped moving, never stopped thinking, never stopped adapting. When the last drone fell, sparking and broken, Sarah stood in the center of the arena, barely winded. Time, 3 minutes, 12 seconds. Total time for all 3 waves for minutes, 17 seconds. It was the fastest completion in Academy history. The silence in the observation area was absolute. Vaxel's telepathic presence radiated something that might have been satisfaction. Interesting, he projected. Very interesting indeed. Sarah walked out of the arena as quietly as she'd entered. As she passed Zexither, she paused just long enough to meet his eyes. She didn't gloat, didn't mock, simply said, in that same quiet voice, "Humans don't come from a garden world. We come from a planet that tried to kill us every single day. We're still here. It's not," Leo grinned as she approached, "not bad for a quiet new girl." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Thanks. From that day forward, the mockery stopped, because the galaxy had just learned what Earth had known for millennia. Never underestimate the species that learned to thrive by turning every disadvantage into a weapon. Humans didn't roar like Crethians, didn't strike like Veluxians, didn't calculate like Kurith. Humans simply refused to lose, and in the end, that made all the difference.